Hey, what's up guys? I'm Steve Wells, and today we are going to be talking about the Hoka One Rincon 1 versus the Rincon 2. So when it comes to the 1 versus the 2, they're gonna be pretty similar to each other. This was just an upper update, so gonna be slightly different mesh in the 2 versus the 1, but as far as midsole, outsole goes, going to be pretty much identical to each other. So a lot of the things that I say for one kind of apply to the other as well, but I will be kind of going over some of the differences in here. So if you look it up, I have the TK version of the Rincon 2, but that's just going to be referring to the colorway. As far as functionality, will be the same as any other Rincon 2. So we'll start by talking about the weight of these shoes. So this is one thing that both versions of the Rincon have going for it. So the Rincon 2 men's size 9 is going to be 7.7 ounces. Rincon 1 is going to be 7.4 ounces in a men's size 9. Rincon 2 for women's size 8 is going to be 7 ounces. And we can check out, because I've got the Rincon 1 in a women's 8.5 right here, so we'll throw it on the scale. 6.5, so a little bit lighter than the Rincon 2 actually. And then we can weigh the men's Rincon 1 versus 2. So I actually have different sizes in these two, and that's not because of the sizing of the shoe, just because it was what I could get my hands on. This one here is a 12 and this one is an 11, so they're actually a full size different, but let's check out the weight difference between the two of them. So the Rincon 1 weighs 8.5 ounces and the 2 weighs 8.3. So with that full size difference in there, I would say they probably weigh about the same. 2 is going to be just slightly heavier based on all of those different weights than the 1, it seems like. Both of these shoes have a 32 millimeter stack height in the heel, 27 in the forefoot for a 5 millimeter drop. Both shoes are neutral shoes. The Rincon 2 is $115 and the Rincon 1 is around $90 right now if you can find a pair. And that's the kind of the trick with the Rincon 1 is if you can find it, it's a great deal, but you probably can't find it. So let's talk about some pros with both of these shoes. One thing that I like personally about it that not necessarily everyone's gonna be comfortable with, but I like the volume in the toe box. So kind of a weird thing that I sometimes talk about, but how much height you have out by your toes. So with that extra volume in there, you're not going to be pushing up into the top of the shoe and causing black toenails and that kind of thing. The Rincon is an extremely versatile shoe in my opinion. So it would work well. My girlfriend wears it for long runs. But you can also wear it for kind of speed work, even tempo days, that kind of thing if you wanted to. If you just wanted to have one all-around shoe that you could use for a ton of different workouts, this one would definitely be worth looking at. It's gonna have kind of that Hoka cushioning that people know and love, but not gonna be so squishy like the Clifton or so huge like the Bondi or something like that. Going to be kind of an in-between, giving you that kind of max cushion feel without being crazy huge and soft. I also like that this shoe has a little bit of a rocker to it, but nothing too crazy, so it's not gonna feel like the Asics Glide Ride or anything like that, but it is going to give you a little bit of that rocker feeling to it. So when it comes to these two shoes, the biggest difference is going to be the mesh on the upper of both of them. So The Rincon 1 is going to have this single layer mesh that is really light, really airy, really breathable. And the Rincon 2 is going to have this sandwich mesh that is a little bit thicker, not as thick as some other shoes, but definitely going to be much thicker than the Rincon 1. So I would expect would be a little bit more durable, but is not going to be as lightweight and breathable as the Rincon 1. And my last pro is the price of both of these. So $115 for the Rincon 2, $90-ish if you can find them for that price. For the Rincon 1, pretty good deal, I would say, for the shoe that you're getting for that price. So let's talk about some cons about these shoes. So my first con is with that lower price point, that lighter weight, you're also going to be getting less durability in the shoe than you would in some other shoes. So if you look at the outsole of the Rincon, even this one, the Rincon 2 that I have, does not have that many miles on it. This one doesn't have a crazy amount of miles on it, maybe around 50, somewhere around there. You're really starting to see a lot of wear, especially right here, which is a problem that I've had with other shoes in the past as well. If you're wondering about that, go check out my Arahi video. But it's the same thing with the Arahi. I just wish there was a piece of rubber right here. And then if you look at something like the Clifton, you're gonna have not necessarily full rubber, but a lot more rubber to increase the durability of that outsole. But that's also going to increase the weight. They'll charge a little bit more for it and that kind of thing. And if you look at Katie's Rincon 1s, she's got the same problem going on right there, exact same spot, no rubber there. So it's not just the way that I run, it might just be the way that the two of us run, but I can't believe that other people aren't having that same issue. Another issue that I had with both of these shoes is the kind of curved shape to it. It's not going to be anything too crazy for someone with a normal foot, but since I do pronate a lot, I have a relatively straight foot shape. It does feel a little bit tight through the outside of the midfoot here because it does kind of curve back around a little bit. I wasn't feeling it as much in the 2. I don't know if that was just me or if it actually is maybe a little bit wider through the midfoot, but I wasn't noticing it being as much of a problem in the Rincon 2 as I did in the 1. When it comes to the different uppers on these shoes, I actually prefer the Rincon 1's upper. It's just so light and breathable. It makes the shoe a lot more comfortable to me and feel a lot faster than the Rincon 2 does. And also with that thicker mesh, that's also going to be adding a little bit of weight. As we saw earlier, it does weigh a tiny bit more, not anything too crazy, but I wish the Rincon 2 was this exact same thing, but they just, instead of adding weight to the upper, added a little bit more rubber to the outsole to give it a little more durability down there. So what am I using this shoe for? I'm usually using it for those kind of middle distance runs, not necessarily speed work, not necessarily long runs, but those kind of 3, 4, 5, 6 mile runs that you're just kind of going out and more enjoying yourself, not necessarily trying to set any PRs, but also not going out for 15, 20, 30 mile runs. So what do I think this shoe is best used for? My girlfriend actually uses it as a long run shoe. So you may be comfortable doing longer 12, 13 mile runs in this shoe. But I really feel like this shoe is for a person that's doing a lot of different types of workouts. So you might be doing long runs, speed workouts, tempo runs, but you only want one shoe. And I think that this shoe would really fit well into a lot of those different categories, because you have the cushion if you want to go a little bit further, but you also have that lighter weight, more responsive feel if you wanted to pick it up a notch, do a tempo run, even do like a track workout or something. This shoe wouldn't be super out of place in any of those settings. So between the Rincon 1 and the Rincon 2, which one should you be trying to get? I think that if you can find it on sale right now, if you can find your size somewhere, I would probably lean towards the Rincon 1 just because they are so similar. If you can save that extra $25, I don't see why you wouldn't. But if only the Rincon 2 is available, you're definitely still getting an awesome shoe. Pretty much going to be the same feel to the outsole and midsole between the two shoes, but you are going to get a little bit more durability as well as paying a little bit more for it. So I hope this video has helped you decide which one's right for you, Rincon 1, Rincon 2, or something completely different. Be sure to leave any questions you have down in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys next week.